I've just been feeling so good about myself lately. I don't think my confidence levels have ever been so high in my life until this shit clicked. Like, fuck you guys. Oh my God, this makes me want to show up so much more. If you could guarantee making your dream life your reality, what would that be worth to you? Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast, where we take topics like manifestation, the universal laws, quantum physics, personal growth, and spirituality, and turn them into simple, powerful, practical steps to apply in your life. I'm Catherine Zinkina, manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur who has generated over $25 million in just 7 years. I am obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. There is no such thing as an unrealistic dream. And with the tools that I give you, don't be surprised when every area of your life receives a massive up-level. Are you ready? Let's manifest. Hello, my gorgeous souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Manifestation Babe podcast. I hope you are having a wonderful day, because today we are going to be talking about the importance of self-talk and really taking your self-talk to the next level for healing, for manifestation, for taking more risks in life, and really pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone in a way that actually feels really effortless. So today's episode is inspired by an episode that I listened to of someone else's podcast while I was in the shower one day. I always have this ritual where I go to the gym in the mornings, go to my Pilates, go to my weightlifting class, go home, take a shower, slap my phone on my shower wall because I have this like sticky phone cover that just literally allows me to actually put my phone on the wall. It's great. It's perfect for showers. And I was listening to this podcast episode. Of course, I'm going to share with you what it is and who said what. And this guest said something that shook me to my core. It resonated so deeply with me because as a parent of a child, oh my gosh, it just made so much sense. As someone who really loves to research secure attachment and raising securely attached children, that is like my whole thing with my son, Orion, and really healing my own insecure attachment from my childhood. The way that this guest said what I'm going to share with you today, it just made so much sense. And it took my self-talk and my ability to just release self-criticism and release self-judgment and just see myself in a much higher light to the next level. So I feel like my brain's gotten rewired in the last 2 weeks, and I was thinking about what I wanted to share in today's episode, and I have been dying to put this out there because I feel like this is going to take everyone's manifestation abilities to the next level. Now, if you're a parent, you will, of course, resonate so deeply with this episode. But even if you aren't, remember that you are a parent to your inner children. And that is actually what the basis of what we're going to be talking about today is, like the relationship that you have with your inner child or inner children, depending on what psychological perspective you want to take on. I've been playing around a lot with internal family systems, and it's all about how you have all these different parts of you that you're essentially a parent to. You have all these inner children. I know some other psychological perspectives talk about the inner child as if there's one inner child. It literally doesn't matter. Like, whatever perspective works for you, take on that perspective. And I promise you, there is insanely deep value in this episode for you. Before we dive into today's episode, first, a couple of super quick announcements. So we are starting my free 3-day money mindset training called Cash Flow literally this week on the 15th. And I'm going to be giving away tons of prizes throughout the training and sharing information that has been actually totally exclusive to my Sovereign Money students up until this training, up until now. That the topics that we're going to be talking about inside of this training will really help you heal your money relationship and really help you embody the queen archetype this archetype, the queen who rules her financial queendom from her feminine essence. So we're talking about feminine leadership, which I'm all about nowadays. And you can sign up for the training by heading over to manifestationbabe.com/cashflow. Again, that's manifestationbabe.com/cashflow. From the day that this podcast episode releases, you literally have 2 days to sign up. So make sure you don't sit out and miss out on this. Definitely sign up because we're going to have so much fun in this training and I'm so excited. My last announcement, if you've ever wanted to join Sovereign Money and get $100 off of your enrollment, listen up. So Sovereign Money, my exclusive money manifestation program that I created to help you understand money on such a deep level that makes complete sense. That's what all of my students have shared with me so far. Like, I've never seen money like in a much easier way than ever before. And I want to help you understand it so that you can manifest it easier. Because I feel like once you understand how this actually works, like how exactly do we manifest money? How does it actually work on the energetic, on the psychological, on the spiritual plane? And once you fully grasp it, it's like you live your life according to these principles. You feel like you've hacked the matrix and money flows into your life so much easier than ever before. So this program, Sovereign Money, is officially opening on May 20th. And I want to give you $100 off. So to claim your $100 off of the enrollment and sign up an entire day early, so before we launch to the public, I'm going to be giving this as an opportunity only to anybody who joins the waitlist. So you can hop on the waitlist by going to manifestationbabe.com/SM. That's S for sovereign, M for money, manifestationbabe.com/SM to claim your early entry and $100 off of the program. Once we launch to the public on Monday, May 20th, the $100 will expire. So please don't miss out and get on the waitlist right now. All right, that's it for my announcements. Let's go into self-talk. Okay, so we all know self-talk is super crucial and important for manifestation and healing because your self-talk is a reflection of your self-image. There's a fantastic book that's a little complex in its language. Like I remember giving it to some people who were just diving into subconscious mind rewiring and manifestation. And they were like, Catherine, huh? Like, what the fuck is this book saying? But there's an amazing book called Psycho-Cybernetics. I read it so many years ago. And the number one thing that stuck with me ever since I read it was that the subconscious mind can never outperform our self-image. And our self-image is essentially how we see ourselves. Our self-image is how we identify with ourselves, how we relate to ourselves, since everything in life is a relationship. And the subconscious mind will never, ever, ever outperform this self-image. So we can desire all that we want in life. We can wish for all that we want in life. We can do all of the manifestation rituals, right? But if we don't see ourselves, if we don't feel ourselves, if we don't already assume the identity of someone who already has what they want, and we literally act as if that version of ourselves in alignment with the self-image that is the same self-image of the version of ourselves who already has everything that she wants, it will literally never happen because fundamentally, the way that we are programmed, the way that the subconscious mind is designed to be in service to us, it can only perform according to its self-image. So if you have limiting beliefs about yourself, the subconscious mind can only ever manifest according to those limiting beliefs. So you need to upgrade your belief systems. You need to upgrade how you feel about yourself, how you see yourself, your self-talk, what you say to yourself, what you are constantly pointing out within yourself, eliminating what you are constantly criticizing within yourself, what you are constantly judging within yourself, right? You need to upgrade all of these elements because that is actually what is defining and what is determining what your reality looks like and what your reality doesn't look like. So your reality is literally a reflection, a mirror image of your subconscious beliefs, of your subconscious thoughts, of your subconscious emotions, and your subconscious beliefs, which your beliefs are essentially thoughts and emotions mixed together, right? A thought that you keep thinking with enough feeling backed up behind it becomes a belief. So your subconscious mind is fucking everything. The subconscious mind will not lead us, will not guide us and create evidence for that which it doesn't already believe or see as true. So back to this podcast that I was listening to and how this all relates to self-image. What this has to do with our self-talk and a perspective that literally took it to the next level for me. So I was listening to Susan David on the Skinny Confidential podcast, and she is an emotional agility expert. She talks about a slew of topics around emotions, emotional resilience, not labeling emotions, and essentially emotional regulation. And she said something that stuck with me so hardcore in this episode, which, oh my God, it completely rewired my brain, like I said. And my self-talk has never been so clean, so pristine, so compassionate, so kind, so motivating. I've never felt more motivated to keep going towards my dreams and goals and like continue to challenge myself to step outside my comfort zone. You guys, there's a fat camera in front of my face right now. I have spent years talking into a microphone because for me, initially, it was talking into a microphone that scared the living shit out of me. And so I challenged myself to just push record on a microphone and go. And I have hundreds of episodes on my podcast now, but now I have a fat camera in front of my face. I have 2 fat cameras in front of my face. And so this is really pushing me outside of my comfort zone. And if it wasn't for me upgrading my self-talk in the last couple of weeks, I would have never set up this insane podcast studio that I now have where everything is like seeing me in 4K, recording me in 4K, and just really like, oh my gosh, I feel so watched right now. I feel so seen. And this is like, you know, part of my career, part of my purpose, part of my life mission is really to embody and to really accept and to really embrace the spotlight. I feel like I can't serve to the level and degree that I really want to serve the world until I fully embrace the limelight and the spotlight. And that's been a lot of rewiring for me. So this specifically really helped me. So enough blabbing, Catherine. Let's get to the perspective, right? So this is what she said, you guys. She said, and parents, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. When we bring a child to a new environment, like she used in the podcast, a restaurant, for example. Let's say you're taking your child to a restaurant. As someone who schedules weekly family dinners with my toddler of taking him to a restaurant and helping him get accustomed to eating out with mom and dad and grandparents, the child naturally wants to explore a new environment. All children at their core, all of us at our core, are super curious. So we take our child to a new environment, like this restaurant, for example, and they naturally want to explore the environment. So of course, they're like, I want to go run around the restaurant. So of course, you take them out of their high chair and you let them roam free. And what happens, right? What happens when they start exploring? The kid starts running away really fast. If you have a son like mine, he's just booking it, like running all the time. And so they start running away from their parents and toward the unfamiliar environment until all of a sudden, and all kids do this, they turn around and they look back at you. They look back at the parents. All kids do this. And what the kids are doing is they're checking back in with the parents. And they're making sure that the parents have their back. So they're checking in. Is my mom and dad watching me? Am I going to be protected? Is it safe for me to keep going? If I fall, if I hurt myself, if I trip, are they going to show up for me? Do they have my back? And if a child feels securely attached, this is key here, and they feel 100% safe and reliant on their caregivers, they're not going to run back to the parents. They're actually going to turn around and run further away from the parents. That's the phenomenon here, right? The kid actually runs further away, actually takes a bigger risk into the unfamiliar environment because they feel safe. They know that mom and dad is watching me. Mom and dad has my back. Mom and dad will save me. And so therefore I can run as far as I possibly can because they're here with me. And then she says how this relates to yourself. If we don't have our own backs, if we don't feel securely attached within ourselves, if we don't feel safe with ourselves and trust that if we fall, if we fail, if we fuck up, we won't get in trouble and we will only be encouraged to try again. If we don't feel like we have our own backs, guess what happens? We will never take risks. So we won't be those children that run further towards our dream and goals, that run further into new, uncomfortable environments that force us to grow and evolve and are good for our souls, good for our beings, good for what we came here to do, good for fulfilling our life purpose. If we don't have our own backs, we will never feel safe enough to explore unfamiliar territory where everything that we so deeply desire in our lives actually lives. So developing self-talk within ourselves that represents, that mimics, that reflects a loving parent, and creating a secure attachment with our own inner child or inner children, however you see it, makes us feel safe enough, you guys. Makes us feel safe enough to step outside our comfort zones, knowing that we will always have our own backs. Guys, overnight, the moment that I heard this, I deepened my self-talk. I shifted so many, I was like, holy fucking shit. I shifted so many things where I was still being so critical with myself, where I was still being so judgy with myself. Of course, I wasn't going far in certain areas or certain areas of my life where I felt really stuck. And I noticed that those are the areas where I had the worst self-talk. I was being the most judgmental. I was being the most critical. I was being the harshest parent on myself. I was being the strictest parent on myself in those areas of my life. So of course I felt stuck. Of course I felt like I wasn't going far. I was in the restaurant looking back at my parents and they didn't have my back. So of course I wasn't going to go further into the environment and keep exploring and feel encouraged and safe and motivated enough and inspired enough to keep going. I had to turn around and essentially hide because I felt like essentially I created this anxious attachment. Like, oh no, I really need to get the approval of my parent. I really need to please my parent. I don't feel safe in order to keep going to explore. I always had some critical feedback to give to myself in a few areas of my life. One being my body image, which you guys know I've shared openly and honestly and vulnerably my postpartum weight loss journey and how pregnancy really accelerated a lot of health issues that I wasn't aware of. And it was insanely eye-opening. But energetically speaking, having had so many energy readers help me tap into what's going on here. And they're like, Catherine, you're insanely critical of your body. And all that happened is that it just caught up with you. And I'm like, you're so right about that. Or speaking in public is another area, or writing content where I'm just a little too hypercritical over myself and how I say words and how I say things and what does my voice sound like and what do people think, right? Just a little too critical in these areas. And so imagining myself as my son Orion and what I would tell Orion if Orion wanted to do the things that I wanted to do, and he wanted to get better in certain areas, and he wanted to be encouraged by me to feel safe enough to take risks and explore. I can't say that word for whatever reason. Risks. There we go. And explore. What would I say to him? And how can I say those things to me? What do I need to say to myself to feel safe enough to know that it's okay to fail? Because this isn't about perfection. This isn't about only encouraging yourself and having this like almost perfectionistic self-talk where you're only encouraging yourself to be perfect. You also need to encourage yourself that it's okay for you to fall. Just like parents, we're not expecting our children to, start walking and then start running and just be perfect and never fall. Of course, that's not the thing. So what would I say to myself? What would I say to Orion that would encourage him to keep going and to feel safe enough to go as far into life as he possibly wanted to go? So whatever that is what I reframed or reflected back on myself and started telling myself. So I look in the mirror now, you guys, and I genuinely tell myself that I am so fucking beautiful. Like I don't think I've ever genuinely felt that way about myself. I know that from my manifestation background and positive affirmations and stuff, obviously I've been working on that and I use it as a tool, but it never felt as genuine and real as it does now because I have made it such a priority because I thought to myself, well, if I wouldn't say it to Orion, would I say it to myself, right? Remembering that there is an inner child within me that is being shaped by the way that I'm treating her right now. And when I'm done recording a podcast now or doing an interview, I genuinely let myself know that I've done a beautiful job. No matter what happened, I primarily let myself know, like I encourage myself, I celebrate myself for giving my best try because I want to reward effort. It's not about perfection. I want to reward effort. I want to reward persistence. I want to reward taking risks and stepping outside my comfort zone as much as possible and just feeling safe within my authentic self. And so I tell myself now that I'm a great writer and I have taken strides and leaps on writing my next book, which is a random announcement that I haven't made yet. So I've told myself that I'm a great writer. Yes, of course I can get better, but that's the thing. You can't get better through criticism. It just doesn't work. You can't criticize someone enough to inspire them. You really need to know how to give intelligent feedback in order to motivate and inspire someone to do better. So if I do have genuine feedback to give to myself to get better, but I don't want to criticize myself or come from a judgmental place, I now say it in such a kind way. And I use something called like a positive feedback sandwich, where you give a positive feedback on the front end, you give your negative feedback in the middle, and then you sandwich it with more positive feedback. So it's like, yeah, you're doing amazing. Here's where you can get better. And by the way, you're still doing amazing. So for example, it could look something like, oh my God, Catherine, you're a fucking rock star when it comes to teaching these spiritual topics. That sovereign money episode that you just did, wow, girl, you are a fucking rock star. You know what would take it to the next level and make it even better? You can totally focus on adding even more intentional pauses while you're speaking. You can do some more relaxation exercises so you can really relax into the content. You don't have to be so rushed and bring any of your anxious energy that you might feel into the content. I think that would make it so much better. But overall, like, good for you. You're putting yourself out there. You're really synthesizing your teachings. You're helping so many people. Like, you fucking go, girl. Like, fuck you guys. Oh my God, this makes me want to show up so much more. I feel so appreciated by my own self. I really want to collaborate with my subconscious mind and really co-create beautiful things in collaboration with all these different elements of myself that are working together to create this thing that's called life, that we call life. Anyway, so I thought this was a genius way of putting it, especially having the perspective that I have today as a parent. I feel like it really took it up a notch for me. It's been such a warm and fuzzy experience. Like, it feels so comforting and it feels so just like creating safety within ourselves is all nervous system regulation, right? So of course, this is what it's all about. And I've just been feeling so good about myself lately. I don't think my confidence levels have ever been so high in my life until this shit clicked. So again, that episode was from the Skinny Confidential Him and Her podcast, and it was Susan David who was the guest. I don't remember what it was called, but I'll probably link it in the show notes if you want to go listen to that episode. I hope this episode was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you think that someone out there could really benefit from this topic or the Manifestation Babe podcast in general, I would so appreciate it if you shared this episode or any episode in my podcast in general. Thank you so much for your reviews. You guys are making my world out there with these reviews and ratings for the podcast. It's helping it grow so much. I've been enjoying these weekly episodes. So thank you for giving back by listening, by rating, by subscribing, by reviewing, by sharing, all the things that you're doing. Don't forget to sign up for cash flow. You can go to manifestationbabe.com/cashflow. I'll also put the link in the show notes. Sign up for the Sovereign Money waitlist. Get that $100 off of Sovereign Money. Get in a whole day early before we launch to the public. Manifestationbabe.com/SM. S as in sovereign, M as in money. So just those two letters, SM. And with that being said, I will see you in the next episode, or I guess you'll hear me in the next episode. Mwah. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Manifestation Babe podcast. If you loved what you heard today, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to rate, review, and share this podcast with someone that you think would benefit too. Sharing the podcast is the best way to help it grow and create a powerful community to join you on your manifestation journey. In the meantime, come hang out with me on Instagram at my handle @manifestationbabe, or sign up for one of my next manifestation courses or offerings at manifestationbabe.com.